morning, beloveds. I'm currently distracting Giovanni because Asterix came out and stood there, and then Giovanni came in and looked, and then they had a stare off, and then Asterix disappeared back underneath the lounge, and so I'm trying to keep Giovanni from going under there and pestering her. It was a weird day in the park. There weren't that many. There were a lot of soccer kids. There weren't that many squirrels. And right at the end is when all the blue jays kind of swarmed on us. And I actually got hit in the head. I don't know by what, other than I know it was a blue jay that hit me because I saw it as it, I heard this noise. It didn't hurt. There was just this crack on my. Now I've been wingtipped before, so it's possible that that's what it was. But they hit my hat, and then I saw them, fly up, and I was just like, so yeah, a blue jay hit me. That's the second time I've been hit by a blue jay in the park. Yeah. All right, here we are. Okay, so we're doing Living the Science of Mind, so let's really quickly do the housekeeping, and all the housekeeping is me reminding you that we are Creative Life's Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is info@creativelife.org. You get one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month, unless something unusual happens. I will remind you, we do live in hurricane country. The hot links are hot, meaning if it says click here now, it means it. And then we do use constant contact, which is an email service, which gives us the ability to blind CC, which means nobody's going to see your email, which means you won't end up on anybody else's email. So hopefully it's worth it to you to do that. Now, the last thing is the social medias. I only mention it because we don't monetize it. We don't ask you to give them money. We don't ask you to give us money through them. We don't give them money. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is go like, subscribe, follow the page. And if you allow notifications, it'll let you know when we post new videos or go live. And then engage with the individual posts. So react to the post, comment on the post, share the posts. Bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. We think we have good tools to share. We hope you agree with us. All right. And that it's a free way that you can support us. All right. I think that's everything for the housekeeping. Now I've started calling this the FAQ. Frequently asked questions. My pet theory is the people had questions. They came to the lectures, they read the textbook, they had questions, and so they got the questions to Ernest. Maybe they wrote to him, maybe they called him, I don't know. He had a radio show for a while. So this is how he answered those questions, and it became an at-home course. It used to be in the back of the Science of Mind magazine. You'd mail off for it. They'd mail you a lesson a week for 48 weeks. If you are interested, they did finally bind those lessons into books. It's a set of 6 books. So if you're interested, go to the Science of Mind Archives website and look at their book list. They will give you an Amazon link. And the reason I want you to buy it use the Archives website is because it means that Amazon will give them some of the money. So there's that. It's a great way to support the archives and get some really great books. I think that's everything. Okay. So we are almost finished. I think Thursday we will start the new book. So today we are going to find out what we mean by silence. All right. Make sure I got everything. Nope. Guess that light is as bright as it's going to get. Okay. All right. What do we mean by the silence? In the metaphysical world, you frequently hear people speak of going into the silence. Naturally, one wonders what is meant by the silence. And if there's one thing we must avoid, it is confusion. To make plain the few simple facts of the science of mind, to deliver a simple and definite technique for its practice, and at the same time give proper spiritual value to such practice is your whole aim and purpose in studying one of the finest of all arts, the art of spiritual mind healing. Very frequently, people will say to you, what is meant by the silence? Or they might say, I have been reading how to go into the silence. And you will need to explain to them that the very idea that it is necessary to go into some place called the silence is itself confusing. With great patience, you will find it necessary to point to the simple and direct approach to principle, and to particularly to the necessity of maintaining a self-conscious state at all times. All right, so we want a simple and direct approach to the principle, and the necessity of maintaining self-conscious state at all times. I told you, the two drum beats, one of the drum beats of Science of Mind is consciousness, consciousness, consciousness. All life is in motion, or at least all manifest life is in a state of vibration. But at the very center of this vibration, there appears to be something which is motionless, something which itself does not move, and yet from which all motion must come. We can liken this to the creator and its creation, to the artist and its art, or to the thinker and their thought. The thinker exists before their thought. The creator exists before any particular creation, and within all action there evidently is a principle which does not move. We might state it this way: God does not move, but movement takes place within God. All right. Spirit does not move anywhere, but all particular wheres exist in spirit. Ugh. All right. I wonder if this is going to be another one of those pages where, like, it's 6 pages and it's 4 pages too long. I don't know. I could be wrong, but ugh. All right. Going into the silence does not mean that either our mental or physical reactions are obliterated. For if they were, we should pass into oblivion. We are not trying to discover how to be less ourselves, but how to be more ourselves. Jesus gave a good example of going into the silence when he told us that in prayer we should enter the closet and close the door. It is evident that he was not referring to any real objective closet. He could not have been referring to any particular physical space walled in like a small room. His language was symbolic. Entering the closet means withdrawing into one's own mind. Okay. For it is from one's own mind that the creativeness which one possesses emanates. The closet has been referred to as the secret place of the Most High, the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies? Yeah. The tabernacle of the Almighty, and typifies the silent processes of nature. The creative principle in plant life is silent. All processes of nature are silent. The invisible cause is always silent. Okay. Asterisk, you're safe. Get a drink. Expansion and self-expression are always the loosening of an energy which already exists at the center of the evolving or expressing medium or vehicle. To enter one's closet is to put aside the external confusion, the clash of will and intention, to judge not from outward appearances, but from inward tranquility. Okay. Yep. Nope. That's, the rest of that line is very good there. The Chinese sage said that all things are possible to them who can perfectly practice inaction, which is but another way of saying, be still and know that I am God. We are told that God is not in the wind nor in the earthquake, but in the still small voice. It is evident that the closet is not a place of mental and spiritual oblivion, for a movement of consciousness still takes place. They who practice this movement of consciousness in the silence are practicing the inaction from which action flows. Okay. To be still and know that I am God is to enter the sanctuary of one's own consciousness. From this center, the issues of life proceed. Keep thy heart and mind with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Here, in our secret place of the Most High, the inner chamber of our own soul, are written the sacred words, I am. It is from this consciousness, this I am, conceived in silent recognition, that power flows. It is said that only the high priest could enter the sacred precinct. The high priest symbolizes our own divine self. Alrighty then. That which belongs to external causation must be left outside, for we shall never discover the true creative cause while we are limiting it to any existing effect. We do not judge rightly when we judge according to appearances only. Okay, yep, nope. We must enter the closet and close the door. Our mental gaze is to be upward and inward, not external, for this is the secret place of the Most High. Next, we are told that having entered this secret place and having closed the door and having temporarily shut out external appearances, having temporarily shut out all and that right there, temporarily shut out all external appearances is very important, because if you want to concentrate on the solution, you can't have the problem jumping up and down in your face. So you shut out that and focus on the solution, okay? Which means all created facts and all circumstances, and every circumstance whatsoever, and do not forget that this shutting out includes both sin and sinner, all erroneous cause and effect, and any and every idea which denies the unity of good. Having entered this secret place and having closed the door, we have entered into the silence. This is what the silence means. We are still alive, awake, and aware. We are still conscious and consciously conscious. We are not less, but more ourselves. We have more consciously entered that place of inaction from which action proceeds. It is certain that we enter the absolute in such a degree as we withdraw from the relative, and vice versa. Okay. The next step, we are told, is to make known our requests in secret. It is evident, then, that this sacred place of the Most High, this tabernacle of the Almighty, this inner chamber, is not a place where we pass into unconsciousness, nor is it a place where our consciousness ceases to operate as an individual entity. We are told that whatsoever things we desire, we are to make known, implying, as it certainly does, the highest possible degree of specialization and conscious use of the law. We are to make known our requests in secret to the Spirit which seeth in secret. This Spirit, of course, represents the external principle of the ever-present mind, the parent mind, and the originating creative intelligence in the universe. Okay, I'm going to pause here. One, because this is kind of dry. And two, I find it interesting that he's going into so much detail for something that I've never believed in the first place. You know, like he's trying to convince me, and I'm like, you don't have to convince me. I already believe this. I don't think I ever believed, which makes me curious what religious training people are getting, that him going into this detail is so necessary for him. It's like, what have people been taught? Like, we go to God and lose our individuality? I have never once in my life believed that. Which then makes my religious training suspect, right? So I'm curious now. It's like, what have people been taught that he feels like he needs to go into this much detail to reassure you that if you go into the secret place of the Most High, when you go to that place where you meet your divine self, that you're not going to lose yourself? I've never believed that I was going to lose myself in God. I have always believed that when I am standing in the presence of God, I am more myself than anything else, which is what he's saying here. So, yeah, I guess religion has done a number on people, and I am grateful to have escaped that. All right, let's pick up with this reading again, because we still have 4 pages to go. Okay. We are to bring our petitions, our thoughts, and our desires to some place in our consciousness, symbolized as the closet, as the secret place of the Most High, where absolute causation exists, unconditioned by any existing fact and circumstance. And that is extremely important. It's one of the things. Jesse says we go to the place where nothing has ever been wrong. That's what he's talking about right here. Unconditioned by any existing fact or circumstance. So it doesn't matter what is messy in your life. There's a place where you can go where nothing has ever been wrong. There is a part of you that never has been hurt. And that is the part you go to when you are seeking healing. All right. Good and bad have disappeared. Big and little have melted into unity. The creative cause receives our desire at first hand, directly, completely. We have brought no contradictions, no desire, denials, no fears, no sense of lack or limitation into this silence. The unconditioned cause receives the imprint of our thought exactly as we formulate it. This is the spirit which seeth in secret, the secret process of nature, the silent power projecting itself through nature, the invisible presence, the unseen host whose guests we are. Like I said, he's really working to convince us of something, and I find it really interesting because, you don't have to convince me. Now, I also have, 20 years of science and mind practice, so that probably helps. Maybe for somebody hearing this for the first time. So, all right. Jesus nowhere implied that the Spirit is likely to refuse our request. In the parable of the prodigal son, we are told that the father saw the son afar off and advanced to meet him. So we have this beautiful symbolization of the Father turning to us as we turn to it. The Spirit turning to us as we turn to it. Both Rumi and Hafiz say that too. It's like when you walk towards God, God runs towards you. And both Rumi and Hafiz have said that. It's like when you take a step towards God, God runs towards you. Okay. I don't remember the quotes right now. So I'm like, I know them. All right. The creative principle, which sees and receives in secret, The creative principle, which sees and receives in secret, rewards us openly. What is this but a statement of the invisible law of cause and effect? The silent process of nature honoring our requests. This does not constitute the entire teaching of Jesus, for he also said that it is useless to bring our gifts to the altar while we have anything in our consciousness against our brother or sister, against our siblings, against our fellow people. This we could interpret to mean that while we have any pettiness, animosity, hate, or fear, or any other attitude which tends to draw the veil before the face of reality. It is but another way of saying that love alone begets love, but that if we wish to have joy, we must give it. It is a subtle pronouncement of the law and of cause and effect. Okay. All right. When we have complied with the condition of love, harmony, and unity, whatsoever requests we have made are to be honored, even the requests for happiness, health, success, and friendship. The great teacher never denied people the privilege of enjoying the life they live. That's got to be true. He turned water into wine for a wedding. He definitely wants you to enjoy life. He affirmed that he would always enjoy it if he were always in tune with reality. Okay. So Jesus affirmed that we would always enjoy life if we were always in tune with reality. Therefore, whatsoever things we desire, the Spirit which seeth in secret does give us openly. That is the silent creative process of nature which we employ in giving a mental treatment. It projects actual, tangible, visible effects, gives birth to form, and creates after the pattern and type of the thought we entertain. All right. That's super important. Creates after the pattern and type of thoughts that we entertain. That's one of the reasons why it's always good to check your thoughts and patterns. It's not necessarily every individual thought. It's the trend of your thoughts. If you want to know why your life is messy, look at the trend of your thoughts. If you want to know why your life is working really well, look at the trend of your thought. So, in other words, don't be derailed by an occasional negative thought. We all have them. It's a matter of looking at that thought and going, that's not the truth of me, and letting it go. All right. It is good for us to have these thoughts clearly in mind, and it is good for us to teach those who come to us that the silence is not some particular strange place which we arrive at either by fasting or by feasting. It is any moment in our experience, day or night, when the mind realizes the unity of good, its oneness with the Spirit that seeth in secret. Okay. In other words, we can have the silence absolutely any time. We can enter the silence at absolutely any time. Sometimes we enter the silence in a momentary flash of consciousness. See what I just said? Sometimes we travel laboriously towards it. Sometimes we seem to miss it. But at all times, we should be conscious of its existence. Nor should we ever fall into the mistaken idea that there is any secret way to reality. All ways are good ways, but our way must be our way and not the way of someone else. All ways are good ways, but our way must not be, but it must be our ways. From the simple fact of, I cannot walk your path for you. You cannot walk my path. We can walk beside each other. We can hold up our lamps and light each other's path, but we can't walk each other's path. So your way isn't necessarily my way. And we need to give each other the grace of letting each other have their own way. All right. The approach is direct and conscious. We need not hesitate to bring our requests, to make them known, to enumerate them. Never be afraid to ask for what you really want. Good is not withheld from anyone, but ignorance of the law excuses no one from its use or its abuse. Anything is good to have provided. Anything is good to have provided it harms no other person, but helps our own self-expression. Whatsoever things we desire, we are to receive. And see, that's what I like to say. It's like, if it only helps you but doesn't hurt anybody, you're fine. If it helps a lot of people, that's great too. The secret is, it cannot harm anybody. And what you want, you gotta want for everybody. They may not want it, but you gotta be willing that everybody can have it, including the people you don't like. Yeah, I know. Been there. All right. Whew. Suppose we had a friend who never refused our petitions, who always had the power to grant our requests, someone strong, affluent, and self-sufficient, who had at their disposal infinite resources so that they could honor our requests. And suppose their greatest desire was to benefit us. Should we not feel fortunate indeed? Further, let us suppose that the only condition this friend imposes on us is that everything they give us is to be used for constructive purposes. And suppose that they promise us that if we use all of these gifts for constructive purposes alone, no harm should ever come to us. Suppose they guarantee this absolute protection. Should we not feel them the most wonderful of all friends? This is exactly the principle which Jesus laid before us when he said, enter into the closet of our own consciousness and make known our request in secret, to that spirit which seeth in secret rewards us openly. Should we not consider this the greatest of all gifts? And should we not consider our approach to it the most fascinating of all experiences? The most fascinating of all experiences. Experiments, sorry. Yep. Science mind, we're always experimenting. On the other hand, suppose our friend laid down the condition that we must come and take the gift, that we could not take it unless we first believed that they fully intended to give it to us, and that they already had made the gift, but we must receive it. Even this would not be difficult for us to understand, for we should immediately say to ourselves, why, of course. If my friend has made the gift, I must receive it. They cannot force me to take it. The gift cannot be complete without a receiver. Someone must receive the gift. We should not hesitate to receive the gift. And this is exactly the position we are in relative to the universal creative mind and intelligence. The gift awaits our taking. Certain new natural and necessary restrictions are laid upon us. They are merely those restrictions that keep us from using the gift destructively. They are not restrictions of limitation nor of bondage. They are merely such restrictions as must necessarily be consistent within a universal law of Let me try that sentence again. We've got 2 paragraphs left. Okay. Certain natural and necessary restrictions are laid upon us. They are merely those restrictions that keep us from using the gift destructively. They are not restrictions of limitation nor of bondage. They are merely such restrictions as must necessarily be consistent with a universe of law, of order, of harmony, of unity, and of love. We cannot consider them as being restrictions, since we know that peace, joy, and happiness go with the gift. Surely, if we had a friend who was such a giver, we should think of them as being no less than divine. Now, suppose we take a closer and more intimate viewpoint of this friend and think of them as being at the center of our own life, at the very center of our own thought and consciousness. Think of them as being the very presence and intelligence by which we think, so that we do not have to go out to find them. They are always at home, and their home is within our own souls. I like that. I like that a lot. They are always at home, and their home is within our own souls. I like that a lot. Should we not feel that we have the most wonderful companion imaginable? Should we not spend some time in daily communion with this companion, leaving all external confusion and fear outside? Should we not enter this holy of holies and meditating before the Ark of the Covenant? Should we not reach in, unroll the scroll, and read from it the divine message? Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65:24. And that's it. I'm sorry, that last line though, that last line. Spirit is always at home, and its home is within our own souls. I love that. I do not, that just gives me like the biggest warm fuzzies. It really, really, really does. They are always at home, and their home is within our own souls. I like warm fuzzies. Warm fuzzies. I love it. I love it. All right. So that is the lesson for today. Whew. I'm going to take a deep breath. Well, I just did. And a big sigh. I'm going to get a drink of water. And I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. A take care of business day, a take care of yourself day, a take a nap day, a catter day. I'm going to have a catter day. I'm going to spend some time with my cats. cuddle your fur baby's day, a tell somebody you love them day, and enjoy the weather day, a go take a walk day, a take a break day, a read something fun day, a spend some time in your own soul day, a go visit the Holy of Holies day, a recognize that friend day, a do what you gotta do day, a take care of you day, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, because occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. Favorite part of that sentence. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right. Beloved expression of the divine, right? Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Explore the truth of your being. All right. When you go to that inner sanctum and learn more of who you are, become more fully who you are, anything is possible. The divine knows you to be good. That's all the divine knows. That's why anything is possible. All right, beloveds, I'm gonna move on into this break day. I will remind you that Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you tomorrow's gym day, so 8:45. Take care of yourself, know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.